interesting to see Snape bothered with what Dumbledore's asking him to do. All this work is toward this.
You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter.
There is care for the student. Snape actually helping Harry throughout his entire stay at Hogwarts, and Harry never knew until after Snape was gone. Hopefully, if I did my job well, look back and say, oh, that's why Mr. Gomez told me to do those things, you know? Harry's able to see firsthand, so this is why Snape did what he did. This is why he was so hard on me all those times. So we don't know the pressure that is on the professionals around our lives. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we talk about education, behavior, and boundaries. My name is Matt. I'm a veteran teacher, and today we are visiting Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So in this series called Potter Pedagogy, see what these teachers are doing right, see what they can probably do better, and then at the end of this video, we're going to grade each one. This video is dedicated to the one and only Severus Snape.
Snape, Severus Snape.
Severus Snape is one of the most talked about characters from the Harry Potter world. I grew up on Harry Potter. Being a teacher and rewatching these movies, it gives me a new perspective just on the teaching end of why these teachers might have done what they did, the pressures that they felt, because those are real too, and teachers are people too, and they're just trying to do their best to serve these students. Thank you for joining, and let's get into it.
There will be no foolish wand waving or silly incantations in this class.
Okay, so the way he comes into this class, the rule is you don't smile until after December. Don't smile until after December. Do not let these kids know that you have a good side. I don't necessarily agree with it, but this is the approach that Snape has taken. He is very no shenanigans. I mean business. We got A, B, and C to do, and we should have had C done yesterday, so let's get going. Very, very to the book here.
I expect many of you to appreciate the subtle science and exact art that is potion making. However, for those select few who possess...
Come on, Snape. Come on, Snape.
Come on, man.
Why are you going to put the expectation down that low? Oh, man. First of all, you're insulting these kids, but you're also insulting your craft. Be excited about it. How are they going to be excited about potions if you're not excited about potions? And we know he's not. He doesn't want to teach potions. He would rather teach something else. But you got to hide it. You got to show a little excitement. I'm so excited about potions today. It's going to be so cool.
I am dead inside.
Slughorn was actually really good at this, and we'll get into Slughorn later. I don't like the way he's talking to the students, particularly right here, because he's already just setting the standard so low, like nobody wants to be here. But for this delight for you that want to be here, you're going to have a good time.
I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses. I can tell you how to bottle fame, brew glory, and even put a...
And this might just be his approach. Maybe this is just his approach and this is just his style. It's just clashing with my personality, because that'll happen. I mean, it happens with students too all the time. Because now he's talking about really exciting things. I'm going to show you that, and it's like poetic too, like kind of how he goes about it. And that's like, so you do know how cool your stuff is, man.
Formidable that you feel confident enough to not pay attention. Mr. Potter.
Also, assume the best intentions, because in that scene, Harry was clearly taking notes. He was clearly involved in the lesson, because Snape didn't like the way that he was engaged in the lesson. He felt the need to redirect him. I don't like that. Don't agree with that. Maybe they are just doodling. Maybe they're not doing what they need to be doing, but just assume best intentions. If they are off task, if they're just doodling, then, you know, whatever, it's first day of class. I don't know. Yeah.
Our new celebrity. Tell me, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? You don't know?
I wish I could tell y'all. I don't see teachers do this. I wish I could tell y'all I've never seen a teacher do this in real life. Teachers are human. When we see a perceived slight, we want to kind of bite back a little bit. That's just how we are. And the quicker we can acknowledge that, the better we'll be at controlling that. And this is what's happening here. It was a perceived slight. Harry was just taking notes. Now Snape is going to embarrass him in front of the whole class. All redirects should be private. Praise can be public. That's fine. You can publicly praise, like, hey, I really like how you did that. Thank you so much for doing that. That means so much. Like, public praise is fine. But if it's a redirect, those are the most effective privately. Do those privately, man. What he's doing to Harry here, embarrassing him, that's not cool. I mean, that's just...
Mr. Potter, would you look if I asked you to find me a bezoar?
Hermione has a
I
hand
don't
up.
know, sir.
Like, look at me.
And what is the difference between monkshood and wolfbane?
Hermione's ready, bro.
I don't know, sir.
Fame isn't everything, is it, Mr. Potter?
Oh, man. Okay, so this scene is Snape substituting. This happens all the time, too, by the way. Teachers call in, teachers get sick, and sometimes you can't have a sub come in. So what'll happen, I know at my school what they'll do, they'll have coverage schedules. Every teacher has their own conference period or planning period. In the case that there's not a substitute and a teacher has an emergency, then we'll need to cover their classes and basically play substitute for an hour. So for me, my conference period is 7th period. Instead of going to my classroom, if they put out a schedule and I was on that schedule, I would just go straight from whatever 6th period class I was in to the 7th period class to play sub. Hands are short, man. It's short-handed out here in the education field. I know, hot take, crazy. But one thing I love about Snape here, he knows how to command a room. I don't like his methods, but the outcome here is really great. He walks in, you can tell he's walking in with a plan.
Turn to page 394.
Even the kids know what to do. All the kids are looking at him. There's a way to command a room without saying a word. Honestly, thumbs up. You know, plus points for that, Snape.
Werewolves?
But sir, we've just begun learning about red caps and hinky punks. We're not meant to start nocturnal beasts for weeks.
Quiet.
There's two ways to look at it. You ask different teachers, you're going to hear different things. And since you're listening to this teacher, I would totally be okay with a student saying, hey, well, we don't know this yet. And I'm like, oh, you know, that's fine. Oh, what was the last thing I talked about? Well, we can pivot. Let's talk about that. What were you guys working on then? This actually happened in a math class a couple weeks ago. We have two math classes. We have the general ed math class, and then we have essentially the gifted math class, which are still going over the same curriculum, kind of going a little bit ahead, you know, for the kids that are a little faster paced, and that's okay. Those were the sheets we handed out. One of the kids spoke up and said, well, Mr. Gomez, we haven't covered this yet. I was like, oh, it hasn't. Oops. Well, let's fix that. Okay. I think it's okay to listen to the kids. You'll have other teachers that say, no, you need to be hardcore. What your plan is, that's what you're going to do. You drive that classroom. Just depends on different styles.
Gillyweed, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Ingenious.
he actually said, hey, Gillyweed, good move, Harry. Really great move.
Student is regrettably forbidden. However, should you ever steal from my personal stores again, my hand might just slip over your morning pumpkin juice.
I haven't.
Don't do this. Don't, teachers, youth pastors, any student advocate out there, do not threaten students, even empty threats. Now, of course, this is a lot of stuff just goes at Hogwarts. A lot of stuff is just kind of like brushed over, like, you know, whatever. Trolls in the dungeon. Blah, blah, blah.
Troll in the dungeon!
Thought you ought to know.
Don't threaten your students. Be a professional. Ask questions.
Pumpkin juice.
I haven't stolen anything.
Don't lie to me. Gillyweed may be innocuous, but boomslang skin.
To do anything other than assume they're telling the truth is just going to set you up in a weird place later.
It appears that there is a connection between the Dark Lord's mind and your own. Whether he is as yet aware of this connection is for the moment unclear. Pray he remains ignorant.
You mean if he knows about it, then he'll be able to read my mind?
Read it. Control.
So the occlumency lessons were really interesting because Snape goes from a teaching relationship with Harry to more of a coaching relationship with Harry. Not a lot of difference between teaching and coaching, especially one-on-one. In fact, one of the jobs I had, all the teachers were called coaches because coaches look at the data and then create a plan for each specific student to grow to the best that they can be, similar like coaches do in athletics. You're going to learn the skill, we're going to work one-on-one, and you're going to figure this out.
Let unhinge it. In the past, it was often the Dark Lord's pleasure to invade the minds of his victims, creating visions designed to torture them into madness. Only after extracting the last exquisite ounce of agony, only when he had them literally begging for death, would he finally kill them. Used properly, the power of occlumency will help shield you from acts.
One thing I love about what Snape does, and this is going to be a positive for him, he does not show what emotion he's feeling. Not really. I mean, of course you can tell when he's upset with you, but you're not really sure when he's actually kind of proud of you. You're not really sure when he's actually happy or in a good mood or in a bad mood. And that's actually pretty good to have as an educator. You have to have this persona when you come into the room that is consistent across the board. You're not shaken by what the room is. You're not a thermometer. You're a thermostat. Thermometers can kind of react to the temperature in the room, while thermostat sets the temperature of the room. This is one thing that Snape does really well. His cool, calm demeanor, slightly grumpy demeanor is consistent throughout all the film. In the middle of dire distress, he is saying, you don't have to be even keel like Snape is. If your personality is more happy, choosing happiness, essentially, choosing to say, I'm going to smile no matter what, I'm going to laugh no matter what. If a student says this, this is how I'm going to react. Having that very planned and calculated is very helpful. Provides a safe space for the student. Even if you are more of a Snape, there is that comfort in that to where when I come in, I know what Professor Snape's going to be like. And that just is what it is. And there's comfort in that for the kids and also for you.
In these lessons, I will attempt to penetrate your mind. You will attempt to resist. Concentrate, Potter. Focus.
What he's doing, he's setting clear expectations. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do. Clear expectations. And succinct. Economy of language. Take a whole lot of words and make them as short and bite-sized as possible. It's the best thing you can do.
Why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
This is the most intense parent-teacher conference I've ever seen in my life.
Attempts to fulfill the Dark Lord's wishes.
I will.
There's a trust there between a teacher and a parent. You're trusting your kids to people that you've never met before. But you're trusting their training. You're trusting that they're going to carry out deeds to make sure that your child is the best version of themselves they can be and is the most educated version of themselves they can be. I'm not another parent. That's not what I'm going to be. But I'm going to advocate for your kid. I'm going to look out for your kid as a teacher. That's very, very important with teachers. I don't call the kids that I teach my kids. It doesn't mean I don't love them. Doesn't mean I don't care about them. Doesn't mean I don't want to see them succeed. That's not what any of that means at all. For me, not for all teachers, but for me personally, that's what parents say. Those are my kids. Those are my boys. Those are my girls. And even every now and then I'll say, yeah, my kids in my class and things like that. Ultimately, when I'm talking to them, I'm not your friend. I'm not your parent. You have friends. You have parents. I'm your teacher. And I'm going to be here for you like a teacher is going to be here for you. You have me, you have your English teacher, you have your math teacher, you have your band teacher, you have your PE teacher, you have your coach. We are all for you, but we all operate in your life in different ways. We all care for you. I love you. And if we define love as absolute attention and intention, that's what love is. I believe love is just a very intentional attention on a person. Love is not an emotion, it's an action. If I'm going to love, it means I'm going to care for and call out things. Love is I care more about your future than your feelings. As a teacher, I will say the hard things a teacher needs to tell you. Your parent is going to say the hard things a parent needs to tell you. And your friends are going to say the hard things that friends need to tell you. But they should all have their spaces and areas and boundaries that go with that. To see Snape take on such a heavy load that he's not the parent, he's not family, he is simply a teacher and Draco's mentor in this moment. Oh!
Take them. Please.
Give me something.
Dude, Alec Rickman, man. Oh, he played this. Oh, my God. Oh.
Take them to the posse. You have your mother's eyes. The boy must die?
Yes. Yes. He must die.
You've kept him alive so that he can die at the proper moment. You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter.
We talked about him staying stoic and having this persona of you don't know if he's sad, happy, angry, because he is consistent every time behind closed doors of him and Dumbledore, and seeing him being so vulnerable, showing that what they see in the classroom, yeah, of course that's Snape. That's how he is. But there's also a very human side of him that Snape likes to keep to himself, and that's okay.
Don't tell me now that you've grown to care for the boy.
Whew.
After all this time.
Always.
So we don't think about the pressures that's put on teachers and admin. There's a lot of stakeholders that have a lot of voices, and teachers are just doing their best to balance and ultimately what best serves the students. And it's interesting to see Snape bothered with what Dumbledore's asking him to do, or really not asking him to do, but just informing him all this word is toward this. And he's a pig raised for slaughter. Are you serious? This is what all this was for? There is care for the student. There was a method behind the madness. Snape actually helping Harry throughout his entire stay at Hogwarts, and Harry never knew until after Snape was gone. Hopefully, if I did my job well, look back and say, oh, that's why Mr. Gomez told me to do those things, you know. Harry's able to see firsthand, so this is why Snape did what he did. This is why he was so hard on me all those times. So we don't know the pressure that is on the professionals around our lives. Just don't know. You don't know what people are dealing with. I think that was really cool. Really great tool of empathy there.
Help me! I'm feeling.
Okay, so Severus Snape. What would I give Severus Snape? What would his grade be? He has a plan for every room that he walks into. He always has a plan, which is good. And he's always about 5 or 6 steps ahead, and he's able to pivot quickly and pivot well. We're good at that. The kids can't guess what he's thinking, what he's feeling, which is really good when you're dealing with students. They need consistency. That means masking to a point, but then having those people you can be vulnerable around and with. That's solid. So solid boundaries there. Only thing that really hits me with Snape is just the way he treats the students. He's just kind of hateful to the students.
Well, that is the second time you've spoken out of turn, Miss Granger. Are you incapable of restraining yourself, or do you take pride in being an insufferable know-it-all?
And when you read the books, he's very, very hateful. The Snape in the movies is a much different Snape, the Snape in the books. You've heard that throughout so many different things. In fact, that always scene where Dumbledore asks him, don't tell me you've grown to care for the boy. Books, I believe the books say, oh, not him. And then you have that scene with the doe, Louis Patronus. The way he treats students and calls out students in class, that's going to be a ding for me. But still, I think Snape gets out of here with a B. His pedagogy is fine. He has those expectations. He keeps the expectations high. Stylistically, I do not like calling out kids in front of their peers. When a boss does it, that's not cool. When a teacher does it, it's not cool. All redirections need to be private conversations. Of what one guy said, you tell your kids, there's going to be some of y'all who do and say some really horrible things. And it may seem like I'm ignoring it, but I'm not ignoring it. We're going to address it later. But the consequences between me, you, and your parent and your guardian. No one else needs to know about that. I've advised teachers I've worked with before, when you're giving out lunch detentions and when you're giving out in-school suspensions, when you're writing that paperwork, you don't have to announce, I am giving you a lunch detention now.
Princess Ami has to go potty.
Write it out. I know one teacher who will put a blank lunch detention on the student's desk as a warning. And then if the student keeps engaging in the maladaptive behavior, they could fill it out, give it to them. And that's it. They got their consequence. It was silent. You didn't have to stop the class to do it. That is the only thing about Snape. Snape's a better teacher than this. He's been teaching for far too long. Very, very talented wizard. He's probably genius of a wizard. Saw a Reddit thread that said it was Dumbledore, Voldemort, and then Snape was like right under them. Very, very talented wizard, which personally I would probably put Snape above Voldemort because Snape was a lot more cunning. Snape was just doing all sorts of moves in that Voldemort had no idea. Snape was second only to Dumbledore, by far. Just a super powerful wizard, and honestly, a pretty good teacher. Hate him, love him, he was a pretty good teacher. He kept his ground. Don't call kids out in the middle of class, man. Get over it. Get over your emotions. Classroom management isn't managing the 30 kids in your room. It's managing the one adult in there. B+. If you like this video, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. Like, comment, share this out with some of your teacher friends, anybody who advocates for student Potterheads out there that you think will like this. But until then, see you at the next video. God bless.